In the opening scene of Crash Episode 9, Young-wook expresses a desire to release some steam by giving himself a heroin injection. Going out into a parking lot, one of the women accompanying him buys the cocaine from a man. When he's elevated, Young-wook emerges. Although Young-wook's previous driver is ready to take him home, Young-wook is adamant about driving. He strikes a bicyclist with the car while in this state. When So-hee's father notices the accident, he has just finished dropping off a client. In an attempt to stop Young-wook, he pursues him. So-hee's father suffers severe injuries when Young-wook smashes his car into the cab and causes it to collide with another vehicle. The detectives now talk about how the vehicle was a club-used, illegal taxi. Chief Gu offers his support to the TCI. Not only is So-hee at the hospital beside her unconscious father, but she is also not there. Growing up, she remembered hearing her father tell Yun-ho that So-hee lived in the taxi. After visiting hours, she is compelled to part from her father's side. Tae-ju is waiting for So-hee outside. She accuses him of neglecting to look into the unlicensed taxi matter during his tenure as manager, despite his desire to assist. In a flashback, the two can be seen arguing about how Tae-ju resolved the case without making any arrests of the suspects, who are, like Young-wook, the offspring of well-connected people. Yun-ho and Hyun-kyung, meantime, recognized Lee Byung-chan as the regular driver of the taxi. Searching for him at the club, they talk to the woman who was with Young-wook, Mi-jin. She claims that while driving, Byung-chan and So-hee's father got into an altercation. Yun-ho and Hyun-kyung inform the others back at the TCI that Young-wook is involved. Mi-jin, though, maintains that they exited the vehicle before to the collision. In another scene, Kyung-soo awakens strapped to a chair. He is subjected to electric current torture by a man in black clothing until he utters Young-wook's name. Through the use of CCTV footage to track the vehicle, the TCI is able to pinpoint Byung-chan's exact location. They search junkyards and discover the car just before it is totally wrecked. Forensics are able to determine that 3 seatbelts were being used at the time of the collision despite the poor condition of the vehicle. DNA and blood from Young-wook were also discovered close to the driver's seat. Since he is the Commissioner General's son, Chaiman advises them to proceed with caution. Chief Gu, who is understandably worried about the situation, receives this information. Chaiman says that getting a confession from Young-wook is the next stage. After discovering all of this from Hyun-kyung, So-hee rushes to the club to speak with Young-wook directly. With conceit, Young-wook makes fun of her. Luckily, Yun-ho stops So-hee from retaliating by pulling her out. Next, while his father is waiting outside the club, Young-wook receives a call. Pyo Myung-hak is enraged about the chaos Young-wook created. Young-wook becomes enraged as well and promises his father he will handle everything on his own. In another passage, Yun-ho claims he witnessed So-hee go after Young-wook while keeping an eye on the club and waited for Byung-chan to arrive. He asserts that he will demonstrate Young-wook's guilt. Yun-ho questions Young-wook the following day, but he laughs it all off. Lee Byung-chan shows up to the police station and gives himself in at the same moment. Dong Ji-ai, who is questioning him, is unable to refute his admission of guilt. As he leaves, Young-wook agitates So-hee once more, and the others must intervene to prevent her from assaulting him. Chief Gu declines to provide the warrant when the investigators later seek for one without more proof. So-hee becomes even angrier. Yun-ho promises to catch Young-wook since he has additional motivation from a personal standpoint. Yun-ho then shows So-hee his investigation into the accident from his past while she is at his house. He informs her that when they saw Myung-hak's accident, Kyung-soo, Young-wook, and Jae-young were using his vehicle without a license. They claimed that Kyung-soo was the driver, but, as in this instance, it is evident that Young-wook utilized Kyung-soo in order to save himself. In addition, he informs her of the blackmail and the disappearance of Kyung-soo, who attempted to get in touch with Yun-ho in the previous episode. So he deduces that there has to have been another incident that evening. Yunho's memory of the occurrence is limited to seeing a flash of light. They speculate that this might be a car's headlights crossing the center line of the street. Taeju, Myung-hak, and Jae-young's father talk about the same case. Taeju discusses the girl's father, Lee Young-sub, and how he was in the hospital when Kyung-soo vanished. Myung-hak is advised by Taeju to corner them. Then Taeju and other policemen are seen leading Chaiman outside while claiming that he is conducting an evasive inquiry. Taeju will assume leadership of the TCI in the interim. Chief Gu admits that he is at a loss for words. Chaiman comes back after appearing before a disciplinary commission. He informs So-hee and Yunho that he would be under disciplinary action for 3 months. At last, Yunho queries him about his involvement with the Lee Hyun-soo case. Chaiman presents him with his case investigation report. One thing, he claims, was not right: the emergency call. After making the initial call, Han Kyung-soo abruptly ended it. Kyung-soo didn't answer the emergency dispatcher's call until 4 minutes had passed. During those 4 minutes, something occurred. Next, Yunho describes to them how Myung-hak came to see him and persuaded him to admit to the crime. Not long afterward, Chaiman himself was moved to the countryside. Yunho is then instructed to meet with a reporter who was following the situation. When Yunho and So-hee follow through, the reporter informs them that his superiors have forbidden him from writing any more about it. In addition, he hands them a number of pictures and claims that the photos and the witnesses' accounts don't line up. He advises them to exercise caution before they depart. Taeju walks into the TCI office and inquires about the whereabouts of So-hee and Yunho. While everything is going on, the detectives look over the pictures and notice that the skid marks on the road match the tires on Myung-hak's automobile, which the high school students were driving. Yunho starts to remember more details of the incident as they return to the crime scene. Piecing together his recollections, he discovers that he did not kill Lee Hyun-soo. She was run over by Young-wook and the other two. The two inform Chaiman this over the phone while they are headed back. Next, the squad leader informs them that Jae-young's killer had a damaged leg. Next, we witness Chaiman approaching Young-sub to inquire about his son-in-law. We watch as forensics officer Kim Min-sung puts on a prosthetic limb side by side. Yunho approaches him and addresses him as Kim Hyun-min, his true name. He is Lee Hyun-soo's spouse at the conclusion of episode 9 of Crash. The review of the episode. The first episode of Crash that focuses more intently on Yunho's previous accident case is episode 9. The way the program handles it is excellent. The broader, older case is introduced by means of Young-wook's meeting with So-hee's father. It makes sense that they chose not to charge Young-wook with any crimes, allowing Yunho to file a complaint and even include So-hee